in. Matty K, double nickel. That's what I'm going with for 55. Double nickel. Is there any chance young guys like Tosh Baker, Blake Fisher, or Kristofic get some time, or do you think Kelly will rely on veterans?
Well, at least one of those guys is going to have to play because they don't have enough veterans to field an offensive line. I mean, Andrew Kristofic especially is now going into a situation where he kind of is a veteran now. He's going to be a junior this year, redshirt sophomore, but third year in the program. He's now one of the more experienced players that they have as far as years in the program. So, from what I've been told, there's going to be competition at every position that Jarrett Patterson's not playing. And, Josh Lugg too. But, what I mean by that is Josh Lugg's going to start this year, barring injury.
Depends on
where, right? So there may be some, like let's say he starts at right tackle, right, to start the spring, and Andrew Kristofic just has a great first 2 weeks of spring. That may result in them saying, hey, well, let's move one of them to guard and give that guy a shot to compete there. So there will be competition everywhere that Jarrett Patterson's not playing as far as competition for a starting position. So I absolutely think Blake Fisher will get an opportunity. Will it be harder for him and Rocco Spindler? Is another guy that I would have thrown in there. Yeah, it'll probably be a little harder for them because they're freshmen, but every freshman that we've seen get legitimate playing time, and there's really only been 2, is Steve Elmer and Robert Hainsey were both early enrollees. And I think that Blake comes in with the advantage of he's more physically ready to play. They put a picture of him out on Twitter the other day in his uniform. I think that probably shows better than anything we've said in the past of he's not fat. He's just huge, right? Like Quentin Nelson's like 335, 340 pounds, but he's not fat. He's just big head, broad shoulders, big hands, big feet, big everything. And that's kind of how Blake is. He's worked hard to reshape his body. Now, does he still have some baby fat on him? Sure, but he's not like this big kid. He's like, we got 30 pounds off that kid. Like Lewis Nix was when he got here as a freshman. Yeah. Like he needed to get a lot of weight off. That's not Blake Fisher. So will he have a chance to play? I think so. I think Rocco Spindler will if they have big springs. And there's going to be the rep opportunities, especially if Jarrett Patterson's limited in the spring. There's going to be there's a lot more opportunities. So Tosh Baker's another one. I think he still might be a year away physically. You watched him play against Syracuse, and he's still a skinny kid, but tons of upside, tons of tools. So yeah, I think some of those young guys are going to get a chance to compete. There's not a lot of confidence in some of the veterans. That are right now projected to kind of maybe start the spring at number 1. There's not the level of confidence in them to just grab hold of a job and turn it, than maybe there has been in the past.
I love that.
So I think there's going to be a ton of competition. My only hope is that at least 3 or 4 guys seize hold of the starting jobs by the end of spring, because you do not want to go into fall looking to still figure out what your 5-man rotation is going to be on the offensive line. We saw that back in 2014. And it took that offensive line about half the season to finally figure out what was going on. And then they had to move guys around. They put Matt Hegarty in the lineup and had to move Nick Martin to guard and they started Christian Lombard I think they started him at guard and then Elmer at tackle, and then they had to flip him. You just don't want to get yourself in that situation. You want to have your line. You want your quarterback to know, here's your line.
Yes.
Now let's go with it.
That's exactly right.
You can't force it, but you hope that it happens sooner rather than later, which is dependent upon players saying, hey, I'm the best guy. Why are we still messing around with this?
Yes.
I'm the dude. Play me. This is my job. And that's what you always want as a coach, but especially this year with the offensive line.